So I haven't posted in a while, and I know that. Mainly I do these videos more to get stuff off my head than I do really for anything else, because, I don't know if people watch it for fun or they just make fun of me, but maybe someone else thinks the same, and you never know. Maybe what I say could actually resonate with them. But something I keep having go through my head is last week, you ever been doing something and then suddenly, out of the blue, your whole entire life changes because you remember something completely the way it was supposed to because of past trauma, you decide to bury it or change the story? Had that happen while I was driving, which was very bad. But I got to work, I dealt with the day, and then I came home, and the whole thing is that I realized I changed the story because I couldn't accept what was really happening. But it's more sad to think about it now, that story, because for a long time I thought it was just a silly little kid story. Now it's even more sad knowing actually what truly happened. And it's kind of hurts because it tells me, one, my trauma is healing enough that I'm starting to remember my past trauma well enough to actually be able to deal with it. And two, I know I have to deal with it, but does it mean I want to? Because right now, I really don't. But I'm having so much fun because I went online, and what I have is I have two of these, which are DSIs. They're the ones that have the, well, these are DSs. A DS to DSI got rid of this, but they have the little tiny bottom cartridges, which actually work. I own all of the games but green, which I need to get green in a Game Boy Advance SP or Game Boy Advance so I can play yellow, red, blue, gold, silver, and crystal and get those. But I've been playing through them, and something I've been trying to do is I've been trying to just make a whole playthrough. So that means that right now I have 6 games I'm playing on 2 3DSs because those can only play one, and then on my 2 DSs I have Fire Red and Ruby for the Game Boy Advance games, and then for the DS games I have Heart Gold and Diamond. So unfortunately my Pearl did get destroyed, which I'm going to replace, but I hate how much it costs because when I first bought it, it was only $35 because that was my original cartridge from when it came out. But because of that, I gotta replace it. But I'm going through playing all these games, and I'm realizing something. That while a lot of Pokemon can't be got, there are a lot of Pokemon that you can get at weird fucking levels inside of these games. Like, let's take Yellow. You can legitimately get a level 9 Pidgeotto in the Eterna Forest in Pokemon Yellow. But outside of Yellow, you can't do that. Just like inside of Fire Red. I never knew that you could physically, that if you got that Kangaskhan was not actually in Fire Red or Leaf Green. Because it turns out, that is only inside of the Victory Road area. But if you play through Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, and you never played through the remakes of Fire Red and Leaf Green, which I didn't. I had Ruby, Emerald, and we had Ruby and Sapphire, me and my brother, and then he got Emerald, and then I got Emerald, he got Leaf Green. So I never actually played through the Gen 1 remakes. So for me, it's very interesting to see the differences, because for a long time through Let's Go, you physically are told there's a small chance that Kangaskhan can appear in Rock Tunnel. Inside the original Fire Red and Leaf Green, it can't. It was only in Yellow. Which I find super interesting that they did that. But then why can't we catch the level 9 Pidgeotto inside of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee if they base the whole game off of Yellow? Which also, I really want Legend CA. Do not get me wrong. I want that game. But the problem is that I kind of wish they would continue the Let's Go series. And that's more because, like, for me, I have a little kid's brain sometimes, so it's hard to actually play certain games. Like Scarlet and Violet, it's fun, but it is hard when it's open world because my brain can't concentrate. I'm trying to do 7 other things at the same time. I'm multitasking. And then I end up dying inside the game, and then I'm all sad. But that's kind of why I like the Let's Go games because, well, yes, there's just a lot of this. You wanna know what? In reality, it was set for such a little age of like 5 to 10 at most, that physically it allowed people to play the Pokemon games without making it too difficult. And sometimes that's what you want is you want a really simple, easy, stupid game to play. You don't want all the work. That's how come a lot of people will play past Pokemon games, because they're very linear. You go from point A, point B, point A, point B. You are told go to each one of these gyms, and you are explained where each item is. Everything is overdone for you, and it's a very linear map. You don't have any control. So, you just physically follow the map. Like right now, I've got 3 gym badges. I went and followed the map through Diglett's Tunnel, got Flash, and now I'm at Rock Tunnel. It's a very linear path that you can memorize and do perfectly fine without even thinking about it. So it makes it so easy. Which also, why is it that if Leaf Green and Fire Red are a Gen 3 game, and in Gen 3 you could do wirelessly trade between Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, why can't I trade? Which some people are going to say you couldn't, but actually, if you put 2 consoles next to each other, 2 Game Boy Advances, you could actually trade inside Ruby, Emerald, and Sapphire, but for wireless, because the 2 systems would react to each other. So it was possible. Nowadays, it's not, which makes 0 sense to me. Why? You still have Pokemon like Kadabra. I mean, if someone else has the other version, why not just make it so they can still trade? Inside of every other game, from Gen 4 onward, you can still go into the top area of the Pokemon Center and still trade with someone right next to you. I've done it multiple times to get some of the evolutions I can't normally get, because unless you have someone else, it's hard to get. But like, I wanted to use an Alakazam on my Gen 1 team for Fire Red. Yeah, turns out that unless it's actually 2 Game Boy Advances physically facing each other, you cannot trade. And it does not matter. Because I tried Leaf Green, I tried Ruby, I tried Heart Gold, I tried Diamond. I tried them all, and all of them told me the same thing. Unless it's physically 2 Game Boy Advances pointed at each other, the trade will not happen. Which is kind of dumb in my opinion, because I mean, I have Leaf Green, I have Fire Red, I have 2 cartridges that physically can connect, but they won't because you wanted a stupid cable just so you could get more money. Yeah, don't make sense to me. So I'm kind of upset with Kadabra, but I also know how good Kadabra is inside the original games. So I kind of want to keep it, but I also don't. But what I was saying is that I really wish they would continue the Go series, for the simple fact is I want to continue it. I am personally someone who loves those games because they are very simple. They are very stupid, very simple though. And you wanna know, I like them. Because if you're playing a big combat game like Scarlet and Violet, it's so much happening. Those games are just very much, you're left alone to go catch Pokemon. So, go have fun, it's okay. And as long as you're doing the gyms, hell, you can do your gym tile any way you want. Some games you can't. But I love that for the Let's Go series. And I would love to see a Gen 2 remake, specifically. Now, I don't want Pikachu. I'm sorry, but the Pikachu family, that whole family has too much love. I personally want to see Meryl, and I personally want to see Igglybuff. Both of those are Gen 2 Pokemon that will release physically inside of Gen 2. And I would love to see those two. Because not only would it be a normal type like Eevee, and a water type that's a Pikachu clone, but it would be so interesting to start with those two, because normally Igglybuff is such a hard one to get inside that game unless you have Crystal with the Arctic. And that's still a 1 in 8 chance. And also if you're shiny hunting it, that's a 1 in 16. And it's not exactly simple. So I do wish they would, but I've got to head off to work. But nice talking to you guys again. Bye!